Okay, should I say first?
You can go ahead. It's okay.
Uh, Hey guys, so today we are in conversation with somebody who has broken stereotypes at literally every stage of her life. She helps people understand their own bodies and how they can maximize their potential with the right training, nutrition, and lifestyle. She's a transformation coach and a professional powerlifter. After winning the title of IFBB Pro, she was also felicitated by the World Leadership Congress and Awards for her work in the fitness industry. Without any further ado, introducing Tej Pandit. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad we could work this out.
Guys, if you all don't know, I had conducted a Q&A session on Instagram where I had asked if you all had any COVID related questions or how you can recover from COVID with the help of nutrition and how you can actually take care of your cardiovascular health as well. So today, Tej is actually going to help us understand how we can go about it with the help of nutrition and training. I remember the time you told me that you were tested positive for COVID as well. So, we were hoping to understand how you recovered from it or the difficulties that you faced during the entire period.
So, I mean, as for me, I wouldn't say that I had a really bad time, especially after listening to so many other stories. It took a while though. It was quite a persistent thing. There was I just had my main symptoms were a loss of smell. I could still taste everything, just loss of smell and fatigue. Basically, these were the two main symptoms. And I had no fever as such. It was just, I think, fatigue and a little bit of body ache as well. But overall, that's pretty much it. Although I mean, I got everything tested just to make sure everything is fine and all that. But all in all, if I were to just look back at my experience, it was, I mean, I would just say it was a breeze.
So, how long did you take personally to just get back to completely normal?
I don't think I was doing many things differently in the first place. So um, I took a few days off from work. The first week was really tough, and then the second week was just trying to uh, deal with that little bit of after effects and that sluggishness after the recovery. But the first week I would say was a lot harder.
So the first question we received was what kind of nutrition we can have when we get tested positive for COVID and how we can handle the entire situation much better with the help of right nutrition. So Tej, can you help us understand a little?
So what you need to remember is that nutrition is obviously just going to help you recover better. Okay. But you need to take care of the virus itself. So please, first of all, consult your doctor, consult your medical professional, whoever you're dealing with, and understand what is the severity of the issue and make sure someone is constantly watching you. Okay. Over and above that, you might have already come across all the vitamins and minerals that you need in order to take care of this and to build your so I mean, for the lack of a better word, immunity, because I would say actual immune building takes years. If you haven't been working towards it, chances are, yes, it might get tough. But that being said, I think what we can do is stick to home cooked meals which are balanced in carbohydrate, protein, fat, and also try to have more easily digestible foods so that your digestive system is not going through an additional pressure in that sense. Because if you eat uh, already, you're going to feel really fatigued and sluggish. So if you want to feel better, you want to eat food that's going to energize you. A combination of carbohydrate, protein, fat, obviously a balanced meal cooked at home with preferably lower on the fat, just to kind of make you less sluggish, for you to just feel better. And over and above that, you can supplement your multivitamins and all the things that your doctor has asked you to take in order to recover better. Because if you
Okay.
look at the hospitals and what the patients have who've been quarantined there are receiving, it's just it's very simple khichdi and things like that. Okay, so when
Mhm.
especially if you're in home quarantine, you can also balance out your protein. I think that
Right.
becomes also very, very important. Combination of protein and carbohydrates, simple easily digestible foods, vegetables and fruit. So
Mhm.
just a combination of all these things packed into a wholesome meal. And you don't need to do anything very special, because if you've been taking care of yourself, you'll be on the good side either way. But obviously, don't be silly and don't be irresponsible. Don't order food from outside. Don't have foods that are going to slow you down,
Okay.
because your
Okay.
recovery is going to depend on
Right.
how you eat.
Right. So a lot of people have this question nowadays, like what are those specific foods that can actually help us in terms of immunity? Like we understand our meal needs to be balanced, but would you suggest any specific foods that people can add to their meals?
See, again, like I said, there are a lot of things circulating around, say, curcumin or uh, what do you call that? Vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, things like that. Okay. But
Mhm.
it's only when you take it for a prolonged period of time that you're able to see the immune boosting benefits. Okay. Uh,
Mhm.
all I can say is that if your current or if your latest diet was deficient in many of these things, then supplementation has a far more greater benefit, because you weren't meeting your daily requirements in the first place. Right. Now,
Right.
if uh, there is no magic pill. That's basically my point of saying all this. Because at the end of the day, how the virus impacts you depends on a multitude of factors. You cannot attribute it
Mhm.
to just immunity or just this or just that. It's about your cardiovascular health overall, right? Because people wait for the symptom to show and then they get tested. I'm not talking about COVID. For any illness, right? There is
Mhm.
no discipline of routine checking, just to make sure blood levels are stable, blood sugar is stable, your cholesterol, your blood pressure. These things are the silent killers. It appears
Mhm.
like if your blood sugar is a bit higher or your blood pressure is a bit higher or your cholesterol is a little out of whack, you're not going to die tomorrow. So you can still continue to live your life. So what happens is people don't realize that it is causing the oxidative stress to build up in the body, and then you end up in situations like this. It has little to do with taking a supplement and then miraculously kind of having that that nazar suraksha kavach kind of
Right.
a situation. It's a
Like,
continuous process of taking care of your overall health rather
mhm.
than just addressing one part of the problem, which we don't even know whether that will help or not. At this
Mhm.
point.
True. I mean, there was this thing that had come up in the news. My parents told me about it. How this bodybuilder who also passed away because of COVID. And usually, like people like my parents, who like a lot of people, they think that who those who are in the fitness industry, they probably have a lot of immunity. Like their immunity is much better than the common or the normal people. So, what is your take on that?
See, actually, there are multiple aspects even to that, especially when you take a sport like bodybuilding. Um,
Mhm.
See, in bodybuilding, if you need, I think it's not a secret anymore that bodybuilders are immersed in the world of PDs. If they're competing in non-tested federations. I'm
Mhm.
not even talking about tested federations, because even there are people who can get away without, getting caught. But
Mhm.
so when it comes to bodybuilding, there are actually two things that I find are pretty common. One is obviously drugs, PEDs,
Mhm.
and second is focus on cardiovascular activity in their off season. Okay,
Okay.
and even some of them are neglected in the on season as well. Okay,
Mhm.
now the thing is, the way these drugs are administered and the skill level of the coaches and the quality of coaching that is available to these people is very subpar. It is sad that I'm having to make almost a universal statement like this, but in a country like India, it is a very big problem that coaches are unable to read and evaluate blood work, and they're also unable to restore health in these cases. Okay, because
Right.
a lot of things get out of hand before they even go noticed. Because it's almost like people believe that ignorance is bliss, So you will notice a common trend that people just don't do their blood work regularly. They are not monitoring what is happening. So
So how
that I
often
feel,
would you suggest somebody to get their blood work done?
I would suggest that if you're in the competition season and you are administering substances, I feel you need to monitor most of the things at least every month. Almost all variables every month, blood pressure every week. These things are basic, and also just measure your blood sugar. I would say that depends a little bit more on what are the compounds you're administering. Because see, each compound has a different role to play, and it will mess up your system through a different pathway. Okay, so
Right.
some may attack the kidney, some may attack the blood sugar, some may attack the blood pressure, some may do more than one of these things, some may attack the nervous system. So you need to understand that because you are taking such a big risk, you also have a very big responsibility towards your family to at least make sure that you stay alive, and you also have another responsibility towards the fitness industry to make unfortunately, these are the people who seem to be representing our industry, right? So if something happens, it reflects very poorly on the quality of coaching they're getting, as well as their own drug administration protocols and what their coach is telling them to do and what they've been doing, and overall how responsible they have been as an athlete. Okay, that's what it goes on to really show, to be honest. Now, there's also a genetic component to this. Of course, you can have some genetic polymorphisms which make things very difficult going forward. Maybe, let's say, X units of a certain compound administered to one person can be perfectly fine, whereas the same amount of compound given to somebody else can almost send them to the hospital. Right? Now, that is something you need to assess from person to person, understand what is the dose that each person is able to tolerate, and also take care of all the protective pathways as well. Like, as in, if you're giving a compound, you think about how you're going to take care of the after effects. You've got to be prepared. You need to be 2 steps ahead in order to really protect your system. And people need to take more responsibility and read about these things. And, because if you depend on a coach, it's your own body, right, at the end of the day. So, and there's another problem about, I think we can go on and on about this, but the quality of compounds available in India, that can be a nightmare sometimes. Depends on what people are administering these days. But yeah, there's that. And of course, over and above that, you're just doing weight training, eating quite a bit, eating excess calories. Your heart has to work harder to pump blood to a bigger body, more muscles. So this is all extra stress and pressure on the system. So it all compounds, you don't realize it appears like, okay, I know something happened, and then.
Yeah, there are actually quite a lot of factors that we need to consider, even if it's in terms of bodybuilding. Like usually people think that they might be the fittest, but there are a lot of factors, I think, to be considered in that region as well.
But, in most of the bodybuilding community, unfortunately, cardiovascular activity, especially in the off season, and is neglected. It is a known fact. So, I mean, yeah, you need to also, heart is also a muscle. You need to take care of it. Right.
So one of the other questions we received was, how should a person who has been tested COVID positive, how can they take care of their cardiovascular health?
First of all, there are a lot of myths, and I think WhatsApp University just never ceases to amaze us. I think there's always some new stuff going on. But I think one thing for sure that you can do is all the breathing exercises. Okay, all the breathing exercises, holding your breath and doing single nostril breathing. Right? These things are very beneficial. Okay, but it's not. You can't compare this to the vaccine. But what you will notice is that you will have some people have experienced shortness of breath, inability to maintain their stamina while walking around in the house, weakness, things like that. Now, what you can do is basically just do a lot of these breathing exercises. If you are a little better off than that in terms of, you're able to breathe fine, then you should be working out. You can work out, and it's not about pushing boundaries and hitting PRs and challenging your heart rate and things like that, but definitely keeping your heart rate elevated for at least some time in the day, very important. Even short bursts like getting 10 to 15 minutes of activity, say 3 to 4 times even during the day, these things are really good. And breathing exercises, even pranayam, things like that are very, very useful. You need to understand a little bit about how this virus really affects the lungs. Okay, so what the virus does is basically in order to do that, what you can do is do a lot of the breathing exercises that you see, the single nostril inhalation, exhalation, also forms of pranayam which which you are comfortably able to manage. While don't start doing Kapalbhati if things are really difficult. Okay, I think start slow, do whatever you can, especially if you haven't been taking care of yourself at all, if you haven't been exercising at all. Obviously, you might find that things are a bit difficult during this period. So, I think breathing exercises is a really good place to start. Walking around in the house, doing low intensity activities, stretching, just anything that gets the blood moving and increases your oxygen consumption is good.
Another question that we actually received was, like, there are a lot of athletes, not just athletes, but people who have been going to the gym quite often, and they had developed the habit of it. But now, after they got detected positive for COVID, they've been pretty anxious of how to go about it after.
Right. See, once you have recovered, then you need to remember that although your 14-day quarantine or whatever that situation is over, you are not going to be able to just start performing from the next day, right? That's going to take some time. So you complete your recovery process, whatever and however long it takes. And once you go back, look, muscle memory is a thing, and you're going to get back to your strength eventually. So there is no question about that. The only question is that how far have you drifted off? So if you're just going to sit around and do nothing and eat a bunch of junk, now we know where that is going to take us, right? I mean, I think all of us have seen that phase in our own lives at some point.
Right.
But now that being said, I think if you've gotten hold of equipment at home, great, train with it. If you don't have, do your bodyweight stuff, do the bare minimum required for you to stimulate your muscles. And if not, just take up something else, take up a new skill, I would say. I mean, I know so many people who have pursued different forms of fitness during this time, where they've like things like yoga, calisthenics, animal flow, different things which don't require equipment, but different forms of training which also require your brain to learn new things, as well as your body to learn new ways to move. So these are things that will anyway stimulate your body, and it is obviously going to benefit you. Any fitness pursuit is going to benefit you in one way or another.
So, like, do you think it is important for people to start training at least a little after COVID? Like, for example, let's consider my grandma as an example. She had been tested positive for COVID, and after she recovered, would you suggest her to actually train a little bit in terms of just walking or something, or do you think it's necessary?
Absolutely, I think, especially depending on how your recovery has gone, you yourself will understand how important physical fitness is, because I think people who have gone through COVID, especially some of them have had like life-changing experiences, they have realized how unhealthy they are. So if that is not the case, and if the whole thing was a breeze, even then you need to build back your stamina and endurance. And that I think is very important. Especially with the older generation, yeah, our ways may not work with them. But simple resistance band work or stuff like that, going for a walk. I think going for a walk is something most of us can do at this point, because I think there is no restriction if you're on your feet and you're walking outside, and if you're alone or with only one other person. So that's not a problem. I think walking is definitely great, especially for the older population. I think only because our thought processes and the world has changed so much. So it might be hard for you to get your point across. But I think resistance bands can be great. Resistance band, Thera bands, these things are really useful.
Okay. I can't believe we've actually come almost to an end of this particular episode. But considering like there are so many things happening right now in the world, what would be the one thing that you would suggest to us to maybe stay calm, or maybe just take a little more care of ourselves or our family? What would be the one key takeaway?
I think there are so many things this pandemic has taught all of us that it would really be hard to zero in on one. But I would say that maybe if there's one thing that is a little the overarching principle or something that maybe I can kind of come up with is put yourself first. I think that is important. Whether it is, I mean, it's not coming from a selfish place, but especially because what we have gone through right now, mentally, physically, financially, and the way this pandemic has challenged us, I think focusing on yourself, basically. I think that is what I'm really getting at, because if you focus on yourself,
you can take care of others only when you are healthy.
Wear your mask. Absolutely.
Yeah.
First, you wear your mask.
Right. Right.
Even it's not just the physical aspect, I feel, because even when it comes to mental health, when you are in a situation where you're at peace with yourself, I think it makes it very easy for you to ease the burden of somebody else. Otherwise, you're
Mhm.
listening to them and then you're talking about yourself, and then it becomes one whole pity
True.
party. So,
True.
you
True.
know, yeah, I think that's basically what I'm getting at. Because even when you look at it financially, whether it is building multiple sources of income, whether it is upskilling yourself, be it anything,
Mhm.
think about yourself, because
Mhm.
you're all that you've got. I think at the end of it, because once you have confined yourself to a room, who else you have, right? What else are you left with? It's just you, and then the next thing is your family. That's it.
Mhm.
So put this as prioritize this. And then obviously over and above this, the world will open, and I'm sure we can't wait to go back to the theaters and the malls and all that. But
True.
yeah,
This was such an amazing food for thought. I think all of us will be able to, try and introspect on whatever you've just said. So, yeah, guys, I think we've almost come to an end of this episode. Thank you so much, Tej, again for talking with us and answering all of the questions that have been come up regarding COVID, which I think is the need of the hour as well.
thanks a lot. I'm so glad we did this. And yeah, looking forward to many more. A big thank you to Vaishnavi for being a part of this and putting this together. And I look forward to doing more podcasts like this in the future, where we can take in more questions. Please like, share, subscribe, and whatever else. So yeah, do support, because then obviously it helps the algorithm. It helps more people reach us. So thank you all for
Yes.
joining.